Hello everyone, this hour on Verbling, the next in my Hot Topic series. We're talking today, Hot Topic, ISIS. ISIS in Iraq and Syria. In this part of the class, our second hour, we're going to be opening up our article to discussion, and we'll be taking maybe some excerpts from other articles to get different points of view about the situation, and you'll have a chance to give your opinion, talk about what you think is happening, what you think should be done about it, and we'll try to come to some understanding as a group. Okay? So more about that in just a minute. First, a bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out from Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. Here are 3 quick rules to help you participate in my class. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up, which means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom noise to a minimum. We can keep it nice and quiet. Also, tune in to the new words that you're learning when you are speaking so that I can give you feedback and I can correct you. And last but not least, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is a little bit about me. Now, I want to know a little bit about you. So come on in. We'll get started. In the last class, what I did is focused on listening skills, vocabulary skills, and I gave you a set of comprehension questions at the very end, just to make sure that everything that we just read and listened to was clear. But now I'd like to add some discussion questions, and I'm adding those right now to our shared doc, and I'll give you the link in just a moment. So I'm going to add some discussion questions to that, and I'll share my screen when everything gets set up. Yeah, here we go. So first, what I'm going to do is copy and paste some of my discussion questions from the article into the doc. Give me just a second to do that. Let's just figure out where they are. Hold on. Here we go. Got it. Okay, so you'll see a set. You're going to see 2 sets of discussion questions in just a moment. And I'm going to, let me just move this discussion questions down to the next page so we can see it on a new page. Okay, and whoops. Okay, so you're going to see 2 sets of discussion questions, but you know, we can stick to these or we can go in our own direction. It's just to get us started. What would be good is as we do the discussion, try to pick out some of the key words that we've looked at in the article and use them in your answers. Try to basically recycle some of the vocabulary that you've been learning. I put aside a set of words, but there's other even better words in the article itself. It's really up to you, and I'll try to encourage you to do that as well as we do the discussion. Okay? So let's start here. If you don't have the link, I think you all do, but if you don't have the link for some reason, let me put it again in both chat windows. So first, you've got it there in the Verbling chat right now, and I'll put it in the chat inside the classroom as well. There we go. Okay, so you can open that, and when you do, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me go to the wrong thing. Hold on. Let me go to my browser. Here we go. And just keep in mind, you've got a table of contents here at the top. And so you can go right to our discussion questions by clicking the link. And it'll take you down to page 6. And I'm going to start with some of these. Okay? But I'm not going to share my screen for this because it's going to be really hard to see you. Actually, what I can do is what I I think we're not going to be touching the document anymore. So I think what I'm actually going to do here is download it, make a PDF so I can share my screen and see you at the same time. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay. So let's get started. Carmen, we can definitely take a look at some parts of your article. I don't think we can read the whole thing. But let's start with our discussion. In the meantime, Carmen, if you could paste the link that you sent before. There we go. Okay. That would be good. Take a look. Maybe we can have read some or part of some or all of that as well.
I mean, I think the funny thing about this is you can see the map. You actually can see the map.
Okay. Let me see if I can open it. Hang on just a minute. One moment, please. Almost there. Hold on a second. Almost there. This is taking forever. 1 second. Okay, I got my computer working finally. So, first, I'm just going to share our discussion questions on the screen. Like this. These are some of the things that we're going to talk about. And the link, I don't know if I can download this. If I, it would be great as well, because then I can, but I don't know if it's going to let me. Let's see if I could go to the bottom and download it. No, it seems like it's not possible. So I can't do it. But what I can do, okay, so let's do this. Let me see if let's take a look at the map first. Okay. There we go. So did you have a chance to read this already, Carmen?
I was commenting it with a friend. We were joking because of the fact that we were going to be living in the same country, seems like.
Oh, really?
Because the whole thing is just one united country. So you as well, John, because you are there in Portugal.
Oh,
so,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. And Giuseppe, you're spared. For some reason, they've avoided Italy. I wonder why that is. With Portugal and Spain, I understand, because the Moors inhabited the country, and 800 years ago, there was a big battle, and Portugal became independent. Spain, I don't know exactly the timeline, but for Portugal, the borders have been consistent for 800 years, roughly, something like that. But for some reason, I guess Italy, I don't know. Why did they cut out Italy?
Well,
is there a historical reason for that?
I don't know. Maybe because when the past Romanians stretch is imperial around the world, probably.
So because of the Roman Empire, the Moorish influence wasn't really there, perhaps.
Who
So
knows?
the Romans were there, maybe. Okay, it's interesting though. So what do you think? Carmen, did you already read the article?
I had a brief look on it, but actually I think there is a controversy going on right now, because some people are saying that why this map has been so displayed, so much displayed on the media.
Right.
So, yeah. So, I mean, there is this theory that is saying that actually there is a group of people who try to make this thing look bigger, to get America involved in it, and then to have a perfect excuse again to like America is inviting us or whatever.
So the idea of the map is maybe a kind of propaganda tool. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I've heard of. I'm saying that there is a theory, I don't know if it is true or not, that is saying that this thing with ISIS and all of that is a kind of self-damaging strategy from Middle East towards Middle East to call like a mousetrap for America to get involved. Because Obama's politic, it is like the more not interventional than before.
Right.
And
well, let me just make a quick comment. It's many political commentators are saying. Let me just turn off my screen sharing for a minute because I see there's more people here. Everyone, if you want to take a look at the map we were just looking at, Carmen has put a link there in the group chat. Okay, and look, I'll put another link to the map here in the Verbling chat. Okay, so just click on that link. I'm not going to share my screen because then I can't see who's in the classroom. Okay, so just click on that link if you want to see what we're looking at. But and Adam, welcome back, and Deha, let me just say a quick hello to you because you're new. How do I say your name? Is it Deya?
Hello, Deya Sultan.
Hi.
Deya Sultan.
Deya Sultan. Where
Hello.
are you from?
Hello. I am from Iraq.
You're the perfect person
from
in
Iraq.
class.
Iraq. Yes.
Excellent. So, Deya, in the last class, we read a short article, which was you can click on the link if you like. It's the first link in the Verbling chat window. But the article was just talking about the announcement by ISIS, or ISIS, however you want to say it, about the creation of the caliphate, about the announcement of the creation of the caliphate. So we haven't really discussed what's going on. We've just looked at some general information and some vocabulary, okay? But it would be very interesting for all of us to get some perspectives from people who are in the area. It'd be very interesting, I think. So Carmen was sharing the map published by ISIS, which is the second link you can see in the chat window. And the idea, Carmen was saying, is that maybe it's a bit of a propaganda tool to force America to be involved in the situation. I just want to make one comment about that. Deya, so where are you in Iraq? Are you in Baghdad? I want to just ask a question first. Where are you in Iraq, Deya?
I am from south of Iraq, Basra.
Basra, okay.
Basra,
and,
yes.
How are you affected by what happened with ISIS in your area? How are you affected right now?
Because Iraq problem because many religion.
Yes.
South Iraq, most people Shi'i, and the middle Iraq is Sunni.
Right.
And the north Kurdish.
Right.
And this now the government Shi'i, and before many years dictator Sunni, and this area in the middle, many people support the terrorists, like and neighbor Sunni support the Daesh, this radical Qaeda.
Yes.
And this like Saudi Arabia and America also. America, semi group of America, Masonic Jewish, support this Qaeda.
Well,
Because
I don't know about the Jewish part, but you're right about the American.
No, not all Jewish, but Masonic Jewish, some organization support the Qaeda. Support by weapons and the money, and support financial money, and this effect in this area in Middle East effect, because this group of Masonic need destroy the Islam, because see the TV and see the and many media, the Muslim kill between them, and this because Islam separate in Europe. Now the Islam separate in the Europe and America and all world, and this organization need destroy the Islam by see the TV, the Muslim kill between them. You see this effect, and many aim like Saudi Arabia support the terrorists because don't need government Shia, for example, Muslim Shia, and this killed effect in all Iraq now.
Okay, so there's also the question of resources and oil, of course, and the Western interests there are very clear, right?
Because the oil connect with dollar, American dollar.
Of course.
America support in the hidden the government Sunni, because agreement in 1921 between agreement between Sykes-Picot, this changed the map of the Middle East.
The 1921 agreement, right?
Agreement, yes. This Sykes-Picot.
So I remember. Can you write that for us in the chat window so we can see? Because I know more about Iran than I know at that time than Iraq, and so I know a little bit about it. But what exactly happened in 1921? Could you write that? What was the name of the agreement for us? Could you write it in the chat window?
Cannot writing. Yes.
No, I see it. I see it now. Okay, Sykes-Picot.
Yes.
Okay.
Sykes-Picot.
Interesting.
This divide the area in the Middle East depend on the religion, like South Iraq Shia, and Saudi Arabia Sunni, and Lebanon between Christian and Shia, and Palestine to Israel Jewish. This change the map, affect the area, depend on religion, the area become discrimination between Muslim and the semi-Muslim part, Sunni and Shia, and Jewish and Christian. This affect all the area.
Right.
And why before 1,000 years lived together, Jewish and Muslim and Christian, before and my grandfather lived together. Don't affect the area, but now the Masonic support this area.
Okay,
support the terrorists.
Absolutely. Right. Well, let's talk about that as a group. And also, Hussein, you're not so far away, are you? Where you live?
Yeah.
Just give us a sense from your perspective, from where you are, how things are playing out, how it's affecting where you are. So how close are you to Iraq? Are you very close?
No, I'm not very close to Iraq, but of course I can understand and I can see some people from, for example, right now I live in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, and as you know, there's a civil war in Syria going on, and there are a lot of immigrants in my country, and you can see on the streets some Syrian people, and they are begging. They are really poor people, and
Or
they are trying.
they've had to flee without a lot
Yeah,
of notice.
yes, you're right.
And Turkey
And
lets them in? I mean, is the border, are they able just to freely cross? There's got to be a huge migration of people from Iraq and from
yeah,
Syria. And I
yeah,
guess they're all going to Turkey right now and
yeah.
probably other places,
There
right?
are a lot of people coming to Turkey, and also they're going to Jordan and Saudi Arabia as well, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
in Turkey, really, there are a lot of people from Syria, and our government let them come to Turkey. And some
Mm-hmm.
people are arguing that if it's a good policy or not, and some really criticize it. And our policy toward the Syrian government, as you know, there's a civil war, and our government is sided against the Syrian government, the de jure government, and they are supporting the rebels in Syria. And right now, actually they say they are not supporting the religious groups, but they say we are supporting the Free Syrian Army in Syria. But as you come to what is the Free Syrian Army? Free
Exactly. That's
Syrian
my
Army,
question. Who
yeah,
is that? Who are they?
yeah. Free Syrian Army is mainly composed of no,
Yes, it's okay. Composed of.
composed of
It consists of. It
yeah, yeah.
consists of.
It consists of mainly these religious groups, and they are
Mhm.
supporting it. And right now, they declared a state in Iraq, and they are fighting against the Iraqi government, and they are trying to control Baghdad right now. I don't know if they get it. They they invaded there, and also they are trying to control Syria as well. And they are fighting against the Syrian government, Iraqi government. They are fighting against the Kurdish government. As you know, in northern Iraq, there's a Kurdish government, and they want to be they want to have their freedom, but they don't have enough power. I think right now they don't want to do it because most of the countries in the region will not recognize it if they declare their independence. And right now, what ISIS doing is making very easy to declare a Kurdish government in the region. I think they are really making it very easy.
Um,
Um,
Saddam Hussein was famous for two things. One, he was secular, so there was no
yeah,
Islamic government.
yes,
And two, when I was a kid, he was famous for attacking the Kurdish region and
yes,
committing a genocide, basically, with the support of the United States. Um, I think it was Henry Kissinger was involved or something like that, and there was a big issue, very big issue about that. I think the late Christopher Hitchens. That's my cat, by the way. If you see the
yeah,
tail,
yeah.
I
I
don't
see.
have a tail. It's my cat. I was just looking at my reflection and I saw this thing.
Yeah.
So, what is it? What is it that people object to about the Kurdish people having independence? They
Mm.
wanted independence in the state, not necessarily their own state, if I understood. What's the issue there? Why is this going on for 40
Yeah.
years? By the way, if anyone else wants to chime in, please do. This is a group discussion. It's great to have Hussein and and Dea here because it's there are things that we cannot know just by reading. We have to know from people that are closer to the area and hear personal points of view. It's really good. And also the Sykes-Picot Agreement. Now that you mention it, I remember it, but it's something I didn't know what it was called, but I remember dividing up the powers, the Allied powers or whatever, dividing up the region according to their own interests. I didn't actually know the name of the agreement. So these are things that are great through discussion. But about the Kurds, what's the issue? They're trying to make it easier, and is that to destabilize the region further, or is it to give them the independence that they wanted?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, if you talk about it in Turkey, in my country, I don't know if you know, there's a group in Turkey that wants to create a Kurdish state in Turkey, in eastern Turkey, and they are right now there's a process in Turkey, political process, to give an end to this fight, and also right now most of the people in Turkey are thinking that ISIS is helping Kurdish people. I don't know.
Right.
They're making it very easy to create a Kurdish state in Iraq, and also
Wait,
in the
but you're
future.
saying, wait, the population of Turkey is supportive of ISIS.
No,
Not supportive.
no, they do not support it. But people are thinking that. I think in Turkey there are not people that support it. Of course, there might be some people, but I think
But they're
not
not
much.
they're favorable in some way. Is that what you
No,
mean?
not much. But I mean, what they think generally is that ISIS is rooted by the some Western countries, by some Western states, and they are trying to give a shape to Middle East, and they are using this group.
They're trying to shake up the Middle East. Is that it?
They are
Shake up?
trying to shape,
Agitate, shake?
shape.
Shape. Oh, I'm sorry. Shape.
Yeah.
Yes. Huh. And Carmen, let me just ask a quick question. Carmen, what were you saying in the chat window? Most of the people are semi-secular. Want to talk about that for a minute, Carmen? Did we lose Carmen? Oh, we lost Carmen. Okay. Carmen will be back eventually. I have a quote I'd like you to take a look at. Let's see if I can paste it in the chat window. If you can't see it, I'll try to paste it in both. Hold on a second. Maybe I could have someone read this quote first, and then we can have a talk about it. Take a look in both chat windows. What do you think? Jason, do you think you could read that quote for us in the chat window? Do you see what it says?
Yes.
Why don't you read that for the group, and let's talk about what we think about it.
The United States of America is not responsible for what happens in Libya, nor is it responsible for what is happening in Iraq today. Secretary of State Jon-Eric declared at a Cairo News conference held in the midst of its recent crisis tour of the Middle East.
So this was pretty recent. He's the Secretary of State, so his opinion is the official opinion. What do we think about that statement? Do we agree or do we disagree? What do you think, Jason?
My mind, I think before the U.S. invaded Iraq, was pretty safe, and there was no mess in the street or in the countryside. And
it was certainly more stable, for sure, for sure.
But in other hand, there was a dictator with Saddam Hussein. So there was a bit of contrast between. And for Libya, I think Libya is a little bit different because there was no invasion, a ground invasion by soldiers like Iraq. It was just air strike, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, and so it looks like Carmen is back. So it's a little bit incredible to hear this as the official statement. Of course, it's probably what we would expect, but it's still an incredible statement.
Yes, indeed, incredible. I'm alarmed by such a irresponsible attitude of America giving such a statement. America have involved in Iraq very deeply because America dispatched their army to Iraq
Sent their army.
Sent their army, and there was a big fight there, and many people had died. And after the war, America, for 10 years, America tried to make an order in the Iraq, but now what is happening in the Iraq is completely differ from the expectation of American people, and after that, such a I can't believe such a statement. America is not responsible for what is happening in Iraq today.
If not America, then who is responsible? Because it's not Costa Rica. I mean,
I think situation the position of America in the world has been changed in recent years. In these years, before America thought themselves as a world police, but now their position became weaker. Now many states in the world feel such a weakness of America's position. That's why Russia occupied Russia annexed the Crimea, and in the Syria there continued the civil war, and even in Japan recently Japanese government made a statement that collective defense. They admit the collective defense force. They are trying to make a law to send Japanese army to foreign countries if America has a problem. Will be a fight in other countries. All that happen in the world is connected to the Americans' weak position in the world.
Right. I've never heard the word Japanese and army in modern history until now.
Officially,
I've
there
never
is
heard
no
it.
army in Japan. Only there is a self-defense force
Oh, I
in
see.
Japan.
I see.
And under the constitution, they are banned to fight for any purpose beside self-defense. But now government tried make every effort to change the law, change the constitution, to be able to send defense forces to another country in the conflict region. Maybe it and America has very welcome to the decision of government, and now many citizens, many people in Japan join the demonstration against the war.
Well, that's a good point. Look, I'll put a little quote in the chat window here as well. Last week, I can't see when this article was written. Hold on a second. So when is last week? This was from June 30th. Last week, Obama proposed to funnel $500 million in arms to the Syrian, quote, rebels, the ones that Hussein was talking about. Weapons that everyone knows will end up in the hands of ISIS, which the U.S. is supposedly committed to defeating in Iraq. So, again, what exactly is going on? See, this is my problem here. I don't have a lot of time to follow everything, but I'm getting a little bit confused about what's going on. Is the rhetoric, because we seem to be unclear about who we're supporting and who we're not, but this is documented, this funding, sending military aid and now 300 troops. So we've left Iraq, but now we're sending in 300 advisors, right? They're not troops like Japan. They're not troops. They're advisors. We're sending them back. So if that's not funding ISIS, then what is the purpose? If that's coming directly from the White House, right? So doesn't that mean that we are pretty openly trying to support terrorists while at the same time
maybe there is no other option but to do for Obama. Firstly, America tried to convince Iran, try to have a talk with Iran regarding the expansion of Sunni. Iran's religion is against Sunni. Iran's religion is
it's Shia.
Syria. So so America find a common language with Iran. It was surprising because until recently they have very strong conflict between America and Iran. But now they have common enemy. It's ISIS. But now Iran had it seems that Iran is reluctant to get involved in the war in the Iraq, and now Obama proposed send money to Syrian rebels. So I think it is very crisis situation for America. There is no option.
Go ahead,
John, sorry because I'm having like electricity cuts and things like that, and I don't know what you have been talking before, but I wanted to say I don't have knowledge about this matter, only whatever I've read in a newspaper, but not that much. But I have the feeling that one more time, foreign countries outside the area, like America or European countries, they have a high interest to see how this inner conflict.
By the way, they have a strong interest.
Exactly.
They have a
strong interest to see how inner conflict in the Middle East, because they want to make it look like a Sunni-Shia war. And they want to kind of point out the fact, hey, this time we are not involved. This time they are by themselves. They are, all of them, they are Muslims, and this is an inner war. So that
I see. So what you mean is, because obviously the link that I just posted there, not the link, the text that I just posted makes it very clear that they are directly involved. They're giving money to ISIS, but through Syria, right? So this is not hidden in any way. It's a proposal. It has to be made public. It's taxpayer money. So what you're saying is, with the proposals, we're supporting this war, but we want to give the appearance that it's only an internal conflict and a religious conflict, and it's got nothing. That's what John Kerry's statement was about. That we're not responsible. You're saying that he meant that this is an internal sectarian problem, and we've got nothing directly to do with it, and we want to present that image.
Of course.
Although everyone knows it's not true.
Yeah, and at the same time they are increasing the flame.
Fanning the flame. Fanning. By the way, there's a good word which is fomenting. Fomenting. Anyway, but fanning the flame means increasing the conflict. You can also say fomenting. You can't see it there at the bottom. Go ahead. We're increasing the flame. We're fanning the flames.
So yeah, so it is like obviously in whatever way they are trying. To make this conflict bigger. and they don't care who. I mean, you see, they can even give support to both bands, both sides. It doesn't matter. What matters is the conflict grows, the damage gets really big. I mean, to make a huge damage, and then to be able to point fingers to in other direction. And that's I think that's the interest. And there is something that, John, I cannot understand. How can how can America justify that interventionist obsession? They are not even free. I mean, imagine everything changes. Imagine they change that foreign politic. What they have done so far is going to be there. It is going to be something that is not going to be easily forgotten. And they are going to pay for that in a way, in a like historic memory way. So having the opportunity to live in US and see how Americans day by day people are, I cannot understand the approach of the government in political, I mean external political affairs. It has to me nothing to do with what is independence, what are the real values of American culture. Independence is not something that you can impose. Independence is
let me make a point. Let me just make a quick point. The population of the United States is completely against foreign intervention. I mean, you can read the polls. It was a very popular comment 10 years ago that the invasion of Iraq was the very first international conflict where the entire population of the United States, not entire, but vast majority, opposed it strongly, and there were worldwide demonstrations. Nobody wanted the invasion to happen. Nobody wanted it. I'm sure no one liked Saddam Hussein. I'm sure that the Iraqi people didn't like Saddam Hussein as well. I mean, Dea can talk about that better than I can. But the point is, the invasion was opposed, and this intervention now, if you look at the polls, it's also completely opposed. So it makes sense that Obama would funnel $500 million to basically indirectly support ISIS, and then publicly renounce them and talk about, sending advisors for the Iraqi military and police and security forces to handle the problem, and we're there just to advise, because we've got to look like we're not involved. But so the population is absolutely oh, I know what I wanted to say. I'm sorry, Carmen. I wanted to say that's the reason why we didn't do anything more in Syria, because we couldn't. The population was so against it that that Obama had to back away from a conflict in Syria. He could see that there was no support, so he had to back off. He couldn't do anything, because if he did, his approval rating would drop even more than it has, and it's apparently low. Everyone's approval rating is low in the second term. Everyone suffers from the same thing. But that's why we didn't get more involved in Syria, because there's no support for it. So he has to find another way. But I think he'd like to if he could. What is the goal of all of this? I'm just curious, especially from Adam and Jason and Giuseppe. I want to give you a chance to talk as well. What is the goal of destabilizing the entire region like this, by playing both sides, by coming out and opposing especially ISIS, and then supporting them, channeling money and weapons to them? What is the game of this instability? Who wins here? I mean, is the point that if it's completely unstable, it makes it easier for America to control the natural resources, or is it that they're trying to find a leader that will be pro-Western and at the same time really, honestly, what's your opinion? I don't really see how this instability is helping in any way, because Maliki was pretty pro-Western, right? So what is the purpose in as you said, Carmen, in fanning the flames? What's the end result? What do you think as a class? What are we going to win in the end?
Sorry, let me say regarding Carmen's question. I think the word intervention is not irrelevant in this situation, and John said that now most of Americans are against the intervention to the Iraq's current situation. Yeah,
and that prevented.
I'm very curious that why now Americans are against the intervention to Iraq. They should have been against before when America started. Americans were getting involved in the war in Iraq.
Yeah, but you've got to
now it is too late.
Let me just interrupt for 1 second. You've got to remember the context. In the first invasion, everyone was being scared by the government into thinking that we were all going to be attacked, possibly a nuclear attack. Remember what Condoleezza Rice said at the time. We don't want to guess about what's happening, because the smoking gun, the evidence for a problem, could be a mushroom cloud, right? So they were scaring the population into thinking that someone's going to launch a chemical or nuclear weapon on New York or Texas or whatever. And so the population was not for the invasion, but the support for Bush and for the presidency was because people were scared out of their minds because we had been attacked for the first time since 1812. The last domestic attack was in 1812 when Washington was burned to the ground by the British, right? Mm-hmm. So from 1812 until 2011, there's been no experience of direct attacks in the United States, and people overreacted. And the government also fanned the flames of that. So you can kind of understand what was happening at the time, why they would have been supportive of the Bush administration in the beginning. After everything fell apart and we're just basically killing civilians and ripping apart the country, the support fell apart, and it's continued to fall apart. So think about the context. That might be one reason, and that doesn't exist today. We don't have that kind of fear. We've learned, I believe. So that might be a reason why in the beginning there was support, right, from the historical reasons, from the background of the September 11th and the propaganda about it, right? But everyone knows there was no weapons of mass destruction. It was all a big, whatever you want to call it, right? An exaggeration is the best way I can describe it. So
I have the feeling that American people, they have this crazy schedule. They work too much to be able to make a living there, and they don't have even the time to think about what their government is actually doing.
And they're distracted by the domestic problems as well.
Exactly,
right.
Because they have so much. The fact that you don't have those social services as a base of such a huge and rich country, it is crazy. It just makes you go like a machine through all your life, and you have to work a lot. You don't have time to think, and the government is taking advantage of that fact as well. And there's a huge imbalance and disconnection between what people, day by day people feel and think about war, and what the government is and has been doing, I think.
Absolutely. And let me ask our two local representatives here, Hussein and and I'm going to say your name wrong, but Dea. I mean, I don't think America is going to ever get directly involved because it's just politically unthinkable. I don't think so. But is that something that you'd want to happen? I mean, is that something that would help the situation from where your perspective in your area?
I firstly want to say that what USA intervened in Iraq because she had interest in Iraq.
Right.
When we talk like USA is trying to create a stable government in Iraq, I think it's not very fair to say that, because we can ask the question that why don't USA give a peace to African people? Why don't USA give a peace to, for example, the other countries of the world? Why Iraq?
Yeah.
Why did they intervene in Iraq?
If there was oil in Iceland, we'd be invading Iceland.
Most probably, USA would carry out a democracy to Iceland.
Yeah.
And this is very true. Every countries do that. Every country does that. But saying like USA tried to create a stable government in Iraq is not very true to say that, I think. And
but just a question: what are we gaining? What is the United States or the Western powers? What are they gaining by destabilizing the country and forcing people to be refugees by the tens of thousands, and putting the government, which was relatively stable, even if Maliki, how do you say his name? Maliki? I forgot how to pronounce his name right. Maliki, yes. Okay, even if he's our guy and we put him there or whatever, I mean, what are we gaining by this complete collapse? Is it an accident? You know, if it's an accident, why are we funneling weapons and money and resources to the Free Syrian Army? I mean,
I think it's a part of governing some places like this. If they make it very unpredictable, they give a cause to region because they want this region to rise up, because there are a lot of people here in Middle East against United States of America and European people. If they have power, if they gain power, most probably first they will attack or they will involve a war against the United States or against European people. That's what I think, and for that reason, they do not want to give a peace to region. They want these people to fight against each other, and also there's Israel, a state called Israel, and it's very important to understand the politics here, because there are a lot of groups that are fighting against Israel, and to make Israel safer, these groups must be in a war against each other. For example, in Syria right now, there's a war, and Hezbollah and ISIS are fighting against each other. And Hezbollah and ISIS are against Israel as well. They are the two enemies of Israel, and right now they are fighting against each other in Syria. And it's very reasonable for the Israel and the Western people. Western governments, I should say.
Right. But why is Hezbollah in Syria? Don't you mean Lebanon? Why are they in Syria? I thought that they were located in the south of Lebanon.
Yeah. But last year, the Hezbollah involved in the war in Syria, and they fought against the Free Syrian Army, or the Al Qaeda or ISIS, you can call.
Right.
And they cannot fight against Israel right now. And there's a war in Syria, and the Syrian government, the last Syrian government, Bashar al-Assad's government, was against Israel as well. And if there's a cause in the place, they cannot fight against Israel. They cannot fight against the Western countries. They can. That's why they want these countries in a chaos. I think that's the reason why they give a chaos to the region. Yeah, I think so.
And let me just ask, Dea, what's your opinion about that as well? Do you think that the Western powers are trying to get the different tribes, different groups, different sects to be in conflict with each other, so they won't be in conflict with the West, or they'll be distracted from Israel and places like that? How do you feel about that, Dea? I don't know if you can hear me.
I I feel that is very danger to all Iraq and to all the area in the Middle East, because now the Masonic move the government in the Middle East like toys. America, some group of Masonic in government in America move this the Arabic move the Arabic government like toys. And lead to, and if you continue this, lead to third world between Jewish and Islamic, and lead to also to the nuclear, like where nuclear, and will kill more than 4 million people if you continue this.
Right, but don't you think that the people, whether they're in groups, whether they're Masonic or otherwise, don't you think that they don't really have the power to influence world events? They can influence little groups in the government, but they don't really. The Western powers still depend on votes. That's why, you know, it was the voting power that I think stopped Obama from, would stop him from sending troops into Iraq, and it's the voting power that would stop him from getting involved in Syria. And you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, first of all, Jews are the minority, and second of all, of course it's not all Jews, but Masonic groups in those groups, sure, there's definitely groups inside governments. For example, remember Bush and John Kerry were in the same secret group when they were in college, the Skull and Bones Society or whatever. But those groups, they can only influence people inside of the government, and it still depends on the population to agree or disagree and vote them out and things like that. So don't you think that it's less an issue about small groups in the Western governments and more an issue about the long-term strategic interests, specifically oil, control over resources, and things like that? I wonder if it's not, you know, I wonder if we don't give these groups, Masonic groups and others, too much. We overestimate them, you know. I wonder if they really have that kind of power. I don't think they do. It's just my opinion.
I also think so. They overestimate it, and I think voting is the base of democracy, and America have to follow to their principle, and I think just they made an incorrect guess. I often regarding this issue, I often compare the situation in Iraq with the situation in Japan after the Second War. America bombed Japan with nuclear weapon, and they occupied that territory, Japan. And after that, Japanese very obediently follow the American policy, and Japan became a democratic country, and they have a big economic growth after the war. But there in Iraq, in Middle East, there is completely different logics ruling there. So I think there is just gunpowder magazine in this area as as Hugh Sewin mentioned, there is very many conflicts there. It's very difficult to rule this area in the way of Japanese ruling way.
Right.
After the Second War.
Well, listen, everyone. We're coming to the end of the hour, and unfortunately, I also have another class, so I have to run at this point. It was great to hear from someone who's in Iraq. So, Dea, thank you very much for joining us. And Hussein is also very interesting. It's great to have people that look. One of the great things about Verbling is that we can try to get a sense of what's going on from people who are directly involved in different issues and try to get a perspective that is not in the media. So that's when I do these hot topic classes, that's usually what I'm looking for. So we've done ones on Syria, on Ukraine, and other topics. If there's something specific that you want to talk about, send me a message and I'll turn it into a class. They're always going to be on Fridays, okay, at this time. And I look forward to your suggestions, and I'll do my best to put them into practice. So we can also have a follow-up on this class as well, particularly if there's an article or an opinion you want us to talk about. We can read it, work on the vocabulary, and then open it up to discussion. All right? Thank you, everyone, for joining and participating. Okay? Any questions or comments, send me a message to Verbling, and I'll talk to you in the next Hot Topic class. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.